こんにちは、香川博です。本やブログを書くとき、山口洋二という名前を使ってます。よろしくお願いします。さてと、ピーター・ノバクさん。この人ね、ユニバーシティ・オブ・サンフランシスコの教授なんですけど、なんとね、パフォーミングアーツですとか、それから、いわゆるエグゼクティブコーチングをやりながらね、英語でのプレゼンテーション術、特にこの時代コロナの中でね、例えば、ズームを使ったプレゼンテーションどうしたらいいかとか、非常にね、参考になる、英語を学ぶ上でも、それからコミュニケーションする上でも、非常に参考になる、本当に具体的なチップについてね、話していただきました。一つ一つがね、まさに現在の英語の課題、英語でのコミュニケーションの課題に対して、的確な、指導となっています。ぜひ聞いてみてください。
Hello, Peter.
Hi, Hiroshi. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time.
You bet.
Tell me your professional background.
So my background is in a variety of different areas. I have a master's degree in acting, in performance. And then I went on to graduate school again to do a degree in English literature. And that was another master's degree. And then I did my doctoral studies in a strange field called dramaturgy and dramatic criticism. And that field, it was from the Yale School of Drama. And it was about becoming a theater person who is the scholar behind the play. So the person who really understands the literature, the language, and the performance of a play and helps directors and actors and other people interpret what's happening in the play.
That's quite interesting because, through your career, you went to 2 master degree course.
That's right.
Then upgrading to the doctor course for related with linguistic and performing art.
That's right, language and performing arts.
Okay, I understand.
My dissertation was on translation, and so I work a lot in translating Shakespeare, actually.
Wow.
It's really kind of
then
fun.
Now you are teaching in the University of San Francisco. What is a specific area of teaching?
So that's right. I teach in the performing arts department, and I teach voice and speech. I teach dramatic literature. I teach theater history. I teach Shakespeare. And I teach a wide range of other courses on social issues, but social issues that are taught through theater. So I do a lot of work on reconciliation and conflict. So drama from places like Northern Ireland or Israel in the Middle East or other places. I do a lot of work in that.
Wow, that's beautiful. And also I heard that you are consulting to some kind of executives or like how to make a good speech or...
Yep. So I have years and years ago, I've been a speech coach to many executives. And then it sort of, the business got very successful. And so now I am a speech coach to a large corporation that coaches all the executives and all the speakers who are doing big presentations, both over the internet, but usually live in front of thousands of people, and over the internet to millions of people.
I see. Well, based on your experience and also teaching experience as a professor, and then please tell me what is a specific advice to the international student who come into the United States who is non-native speaker. What are the first things which they have to do to make a good presentation?
Boy, that's okay. So
it's a wide question. Sorry,
it is. That's okay. But let's talk about if they're doing the presentation like on Zoom or if they're doing it in person. One of the things that I really recommend if you're doing a presentation over Zoom is to have a really good microphone. Good microphones make a big difference in the way that we hear you and that we can understand any differences in accent sometimes. So let me give you an example. I'm going to unplug my good microphone and you'll be able to hear the quality and difference between the computer on the microphone on my computer and the one that I'm using now. So listen to the difference. So can you hear the difference now between?
Very, very good. I can understand immediately. Mm.
And so I'll put the other one back in, but you can hear the background noise. I hear it sounds hollow, like I'm in a room, and it's not good. So the first thing I recommend, a good microphone, that quality of sound can really help you be better understood. That's number one.
So it's a kind of mechanical support is really important.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Mechanical support.
Second advice you mentioned.
The second thing would be to frame yourself in this box that we have, right, in Zoom, and to make sure that your eye level is level with the camera, so that you're looking into the camera and speaking to the camera.
I'm now adjusting it.
And so I can see you out of my my vision. I can see you slightly, but I focus on the camera because it makes it feel as though I'm connecting with you.
I understand.
And so the other thing is you want your eye level to be in the top third of this area. Look what happens if I'm like down like this. Can you see how I don't have power or strength and I'm so right? But when I move like this and I take up the space, I am much more powerful and I have much more presence virtually.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good information. I have to learn a lot. Now, next one, as a professional background, are there anything you can recommend to the Japanese, particularly Japanese or Far Eastern student who is a little bit shy, of course, shy to speak out? Maybe they are speak with so much about accent, even they have a complex about accent. And, do you have any advice? What is the first thing they have to do? And then what is the second thing they have to do?
Okay, so there are many strategies. The first thing, if they're shy and they don't feel comfortable just speaking, is to write down their answers or their questions first.
Of course.
Because the way we read from written text is different than when we're speaking.
But when people read, people look down. So this is just, they need a practice.
They do. So focus or eye contact is really important. Now that's easier in Zoom because you're not really looking at a person, you're looking at a camera. So if you can look at the camera and speak to the camera, that's easier. Yeah. If you're in person, you do need to make eye contact with someone when you speak. And so that's incredibly important and very helpful. And some of these are different culturally. There are a lot of cultural differences, right, between authority and how we might view authority, for example, or interrupting someone while they're speaking. And in American culture, we're used to that sort of direct conversation and direct eye contact and focus.
And even interrupting during the conversation, if I have a strong opinion. Okay.
There are some strategies to do that. One is to raise your hand. Because we raise our hand, we understand that is a signal, meaning I wish to contribute. I want to say something. And so when you raise your hand, people will usually call on you. They'll say, yes, Peter, did you want to say something? So raising your hand.
If I do like this, it is a good manner to, may I interrupt?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and it's a symbol to others in the Zoom or in the meeting that you want to be able to say something.
Good tip, because if people cannot understand a specific word, that case, even though at the time I can do like this, then excuse me, something like this.
Right. That's right. So it's just I have a question. If they're not paying attention, if they don't call on you, you can wave to get their attention. You can do that. If you're in Zoom, make sure you take yourself off mute. So for example, if I mute myself, you'll see the icon in the lower part of my frame here. And when I take it off mute, that is a cue to other people that I want to speak, that I want to say something.
I understand.
Here's another technological trick.
That's interesting. This is a new era's technology of
It
like
is.
particularly online study.
It is. And here's another
Oh,
interesting,
go ahead, please.
another interesting trick. If you are in a Zoom meeting and there are 15 people or more, and you see all these squares of people, and you want to be able to say something, you can tap the microphone. Because if you tap the microphone, the camera moves to you. The camera brings you forward more.
Right.
And
Right.
so other people will see that as the person who's speaking if you just tap the microphone. It's a little trick, but it can be very effective if you want to say something.
How about the accent? Of course, I do have a so-called Asian accent, maybe Japanese accent. Sometimes L and R is really tough for me to identify. You know, it's a typical. But of course, it is important to learn accent. But you mentioned before, like intonation is more important for the first time.
Yeah. So accents, there are many different strategies to work with people with accented speech. And sometimes it's not the pronunciation of the word that's the most important. Sometimes it's the intonation, the music of the language that's more important. And in English, we have what's called a stress-based inflection. And that means that in some words that have 2 syllables or more, if I can explain a syllable is the rhythm, the rhythm of the word. So if it's in words that have more than 2 syllables, we usually increase the pitch. So if I say syllable, you can hear me going up on the word syllable, on the first part of that word. And so learning the music of the language is really important.
That means like speak a little bit faster might be good. If people have a disadvantage of the accent or pronunciation, maybe speak first with a good intonation might be a good strategy.
Yep, it's a good strategy to learn how we can hear in the first 60 seconds of speaking with you, oftentimes what substitutions you make. So L and R are difficult, like you said, right? And once we learn that and hear that, we can start to understand a little bit more clearly. And so if you're using the right rhythm of the language and the right intonation, the musicality, then you'll be much better understood.
Okay, I got it.
Can I give you another example?
Sure, please.
So in English is one of the only languages that has 2 different sounds for TH. Do you have the TH sound in Japanese?
No.
Nope. So that's going to be a difficult.
We don't use tongue outside of
the mouth, right, mouth. And that is a very difficult thing for Japanese speakers. But we have 2 different ways that we pronounce it. One is, the other is z.
Right, that's right.
So for example, in the word think, right? Think, you hear the unvoiced one.
Sure.
But in the word this, it's voiced. And so what most Japanese people do, or Germans, Russians, Polish people, they will substitute tink for the word think.
True. Yeah.
And they'll substitute the sound d, dis, for dis.
Yeah.
For
I do it a lot.
So you hear tink dis, right? Tink dis. But we understand what you're saying, because even though you're not making the sounds that we would say it in as native speaker. So it's okay that you don't say and th. It's perfectly fine, because we understand the words that you're saying, even if you're substituting a different sound.
I see. Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's good encouragement.
Yep.
Okay. And yeah, we have only maybe 3 minutes left, but do you have any, how can I say, encouragement or something you want to say to the Japanese English learners?
Sure, absolutely.
Please.
So there are some really great ways that you can learn English, and some of them are through music and songs, and learning to pronounce that way is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
There are other good television shows, like there was one years ago called Friends, which was very popular. And putting on subtitles is a great way to practice your pronunciation as well.
Actually, I see.
And so there's subtle, very specific ways that you can learn. But the differences between Japanese and English, American English, there are some big differences between them. And learning the rhythm, learning the way our sounds come together. You can start with sounds at the top, so vowels and consonant sounds. Then you can move to word endings underneath that. Then you can move to intonation and inflection and to the rhythm of the speech. And if you learn the sounds first and then move through to the strong foundation of the rhythm and the language and the music, then you'll have a much better chance at being understood more easily.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, thank you so much for a nice advice. Maybe I want to create a series of the interview. Of course, we have to make some arrangement. But,
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, really nice to talk to you. And let's continue this subject.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks,
Okay.
Hiroshi. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You
Talk
bet.
to you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye-bye.